Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ivory and my student number is 051.
My name is Cecile, my student number is 049.
And I'm Fanny with student number 041.
And we are Group 6. Today, we'll be presenting our Pragmatics project analysis,
where we've analyzed various pragmatic phenomena from popular movies and TV shows.
We'll be exploring conversational maxims, implicature, speech acts, and politeness strategies.
So, let's get started. Okay, so now we'll be discussing Greece conversational maxims. So first, let's take a look at a variation of the quantity maxim. In the social network, Erica asks Mark a simple question. He responds with an overly detailed technical explanation about algorithms. This violates the quantity maxim because Mark provides more information than required. The maxim states we should be as informative as necessary, but not more. Mark's excessive details make the conversation inefficient and shows his social awkwardness. So for example 2, quantity maxim, too little information. Next, in the pulp fiction, we see the opposite violation. A character says we should have shotguns for this kind of deal. This violates quantity by providing too little information. The phrase "this kind of deal" is vague and doesn't give enough context. The listener doesn't know what specific situation requires shotguns, making the communication incomplete. For the third example is quality maxim or lying. Moving to the quality maxim, which requires truthfulness. In Frozen, Hans says to Anna, "If only there was someone out there who loved you." This clearly violates the quality maxim because Hans is lying. He knows he doesn't love Anna and is manipulating her. The quality maxim requires speakers to say only what they believe to be true and have adequate evidence for. Okay, so for the fourth example is quality maxim or sarcasm. Another quality violation appears in The Devil Wears Prada when Miranda says, "Please bore someone else with your questions."
Okay, what kind of skirts do you?
Please bore someone else with your questions.
Okay, so this uses sarcasm, which technically violates quality. She doesn't genuinely mean please in a polite way. She's being dismissive. Sarcasm deliberately says the opposite of what's meant, violating the truthfulness requirement. The fifth example is relation maxim, the irrelevant response. Okay, so now for the relation maxim, which requires relevance. In Alice in Wonderland, Alice asks, which way should I go? And the Cheshire Cat responds that depends on where you want to get to. While philosophically interesting, this seems to violate relation by not directly answering Alice's question. She wants a simple direction, but the cat gives an evasive response that appears irrelevant to her immediate need. Okay, so for the sixth example, relation maxim, changing subject. In the office, when Michael is asked about sales numbers, he responds by talking about his weekend plans instead. So this is a clear relation maxim violation. He completely changes the subject to avoid discussing poor sales performance. This response has no connection to the question asked, breaking conversational cooperation. Okay, so for the seventh example, manner maxim, ambiguous. The manner maxim requires clarity and order. In Pirates of the Caribbean, the pirate code states, "Take what you can, give nothing back." This violates manner through ambiguity. What exactly should be taken? From whom? The phrase is deliberately vague and unclear, though this ambiguity serves the pirate's purposes by allowing flexible interpretation. And the last example is manner maxim, obscure expression. In Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, Dumbledore speaks in riddles about Horcruxes to Harry. This violates the manner maxim by being unnecessarily obscure. Dumbledore could explain directly but chooses cryptic language. Well, he has reason for the obscurity, but it makes the communication unclear and difficult to understand. Now, we'll explore implicature, what speakers imply without directly stating. We'll each present a few examples. I'll start with my first implicature example. The first example is conversational implicature. In Mean Girls, a character says she's not even that good looking if you really look at her. So the implicator here is that she is actually good looking, but the speaker is jealous. By adding if you really look at her, the speaker violates the quality maxim intentionally. The listener understands the speaker is being insincere due to jealousy, not making a genuine observation. So for the second example is conversational implicature. In France, when Rachel asks Ross, "How's the chicken?" he responds, "It's interesting." So the implicature is that the food is bad. Interesting is a polite understatement. Ross violates the quality maxim by not being fully truthful, but does so to maintain politeness. So for the third example is conversational implicature. In The Godfather, Don Corleone says, "I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse." So the implicature is that he will threaten or force compliance. The literal word sounds like a generous offer, but contextually, everyone understands this is a euphemism for coercion. The phrase has become iconic precisely because of this gap between literal meaning and implied threat.
Okay, so let me continue with more implicator examples. For example, conversational implicator. In Titanic, where Cal asks Rose, "Perhaps you join me for dinner tomorrow evening," Rose's mother gives her a meaningful look. The mother's look implicates you must accept this invitation. While nothing is said verbally, the implicate is clear their financial survival depends on Rose maintaining this relationship with Cal. The nonverbal communication carries strong implied meaning. Okay, for the fifth example, conventional implicator. In the social network, someone says, "He's a nice guy, but he's not CEO material." The word "but" creates conventional implicator. It signals a contrast between being nice and being CEO material, implying these are separate qualities and that being nice is irrelevant or insufficient for leadership. The conventional meaning of "but" always suggests opposition or conciliation. Okay, so for the sixth example, conversational implicator. In Harry Potter, Professor Snape simply says, "Turn to page 394. Okay. When students expect explanation about the defense against dark arts teacher, Snape's abrupt comment implicates, "Stop asking questions and do as you are told." He violates the quantity maxim by giving no explanations, which implicate his authority and unwillingness to discuss the matter.
And I will complete the implicature section with the final examples. Example number 7, conversational implicature. In The Devil Wears Prada, Miranda states, "Everyone wants to be us." The implicature is, "We are superior and you should feel privileged to be here." This statement implies exclusivity, superiority, and high status. It's not just a factual observation, but an assertion of dominance and prestige in the fashion world. Example number 8, conversational implicature. Finally, in Shrek, when Shrek says, "Ogres are like onions," Donkey asks, "They sting?" And Shrek clarifies, "No, layers." The implicature is that ogres are complex and have depth, just like onions have layers. The comparison implicates shared characteristics. Shrek uses this metaphor to implicate that he's more than what he appears on the surface. There's complexity to his personality.
Hello everyone, I'm Cecile and I'll be explaining speech acts. Speech acts are actions performed through language and they can be direct or indirect, literal or non-literal. Okay, for the first example, direct literal. First, a direct literal speech act from The Devil Wears Prada, Miranda commands, "Get me Starbucks." This is direct because it's in imperative command form and literal because the words mean exactly what they say. She wants someone to get her coffee, there's no hidden meaning or indirect phrasing. The form matches the function perfectly. Okay, for the second example, indirect literal. Next, in French, Chandler says, "Could you be any louder?" This is indirect because it uses a question form, but the function is a request to be quieter, not a genuine question. It's literal because the words themselves maintain their standard meaning. The interrogative form indirectly performs a request speech act. Okay, for the third example, indirect non-literal. In Frozen, Elsa sings, "The cold never bothered me anyway." This is indirect because it's a statement form but functions as an assertion of independence and self-acceptance. It's non-literal because the cold metaphorically represents criticism and isolation, not actual temperature. The speech act is declaring emotional strength through metaphor. Okay, for the fourth example, direct non-literal or metaphorical. From The Lion King, Rafiki tells Simba, "You have forgotten who you are." This is direct because it's a straightforward declarative statement, but non-literal because forgotten who you are doesn't mean literal amnesia. It metaphorically means forgetting his responsibilities, identity, and destiny as king. The direct note of form contrasts with the figurative meaning. Okay, for the fifth example in direct literal, in Harry Potter, someone asks, "Can you pass the salt?" This is indirect because while it's grammatically a yes or no question about ability, it functions as a request. It's literal because the words have their standard meanings. This is a classic example of conventional indirect speech acts. We all understand this isn't really asking about physical ability. Okay, for the sixth example, indirect non-literal. In The Elvis, someone says, "It's a little warm in here, isn't it?" This is indirect because it's phrased as a question or observation, but functions as a request to adjust the air conditioner. It's non-literal because the speaker isn't just commenting on temperature, they're indirectly requesting action. The statement about temperature is a vehicle for making requests. Okay, for the seventh example, direct literal. From Titanic, Rose says to Jack, "I want you to draw me like one of your French girls." This is direct because it explicitly states her want using "I want you to," making it a clear request. It's literal because the words mean exactly what they say. She genuinely wants to be drawn. The form and function align perfectly with no indirectness or figurative language. Okay, for the eighth example or the last, direct non-literal. Finally, in Pride and Prejudice, Mr. Darcy says she is tolerable, but not handsome enough to tell me. This is indirect because while it appears to be an evolution statement, it functions as a rejection. It's non-literal because Darcy actually attracts to Elizabeth by using understatement and dismissive language to hide his feelings. The speech act of rejection is performed through seemingly objective assessment.
Hi everyone, so I will discuss politeness strategies. Based on Brown and Levinson's theory, politeness helps maintain face, our public self-image. Let's look at different politeness strategies. Example 1, positive politeness, compliment. First, positive politeness, which builds rapport and shows solidarity. In The Devil Wears Prada, someone says, "You look wonderful, that color is perfect on you." Compliments are classic positive politeness strategies. They attend to the hearer's positive face needs, their desire to be liked and appreciated. By praising appearance, the speaker creates friendliness and reinforces social bonds. Example number 2, negative politeness, hedging. Negative politeness respects autonomy and minimizes imposition. In Harry Potter, someone says, "This softens the request and show respect for the hearer's negative face, their desire for freedom and autonomy." The speaker acknowledges their imposing and gives the hearer room to refuse. Example number 3, positive politeness, in group identity. In Mean Girls, characters say, "Oh my god, we should totally go shopping together." This creates in-group identity using "we" and shared activities. Positive politeness emphasizes common ground and membership in the same social group. The enthusiasm and inclusive language strengthen social bonds and show solidarity. Example number 4, negative politeness, apologizing. From Pride and Prejudice, someone says, "Forgive me." Apologizing before a potentially face-threatening act is negative politeness. The speaker acknowledges the imposition and asks for forgiveness in advance. This shows respect for the hearer's negative faith by admitting the request may be unwelcome. Example number 5, bold on record, emergency. Sometimes politeness is abandoned for urgency. In Titanic, during the sinking, someone shouts, "Get in the boat now." This is bold on record strategy with no politeness. In emergencies, directness is justified because task efficiency outweighs face concerns. The life-threatening situation makes blunt comments appropriate and necessary. Example number 6, off-record hinting. Off-record strategies are indirect hints. In France, Monica says, "I wonder what it would be like to have a clean apartment." Instead of directly telling her roommates to clean, Monica hints. Off-record strategies allow the speaker to avoid responsibility for the face-threatening act. If the hint is ignored, she can claim she wasn't making a request at all. Example number 7, negative politeness impersonalizing. In Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Dolores Umbridge says, "Progress' sake of progress must be discouraged." Using passive constructions and avoiding personal pronouns is negative politeness. Instead of saying, "I discourage you from making progress," Umbridge makes it impersonal. This removes direct confrontation and makes the directive seem like an institutional policy rather than personal criticism, minimizing face threat. Example number 8, positive politeness, joke or humor. In Thor Ragnarok, when Thor sees Hulk in the arena, he excitedly shouts, "We know each other. He's a friend from work." This enthusiastic humor creates positive politeness by establishing shared experience. Thor's playful description of their relationship reduces tension in a dangerous situation. By using humor and familiar language, he attempts to build rapport with Hulk while entertaining the crowd, creating positive faith through lighthearted interaction.